Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Etiquette live stream. I like to do live streams Sundays at 10 p.m. Now, you might notice that it's a different link than what was shown. It's because I had an issue with the live stream. For some reason, I couldn't go live on the original stream. So I had to create a new one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to live stream and chat for a little bit and give everyone a chance to join and just explain the whole situation. So while I'm here, if you're new here, put your name in the comments down below. Tell me where you're from. And today, our live stream will be all about how to help students speak English. So, hi, everyone. Hi, Gal Matthews. Hi. So, everyone, welcome to the live stream. It's good to have you. I'm excited to talk about this topic because I get lots of questions by my viewers. A lot of the questions are things like classroom management or activities to help students or questions about how to teach certain grammar. But one of the questions that comes up a lot is, how do I get my students to speak more English? Be it shy students, be it students that aren't confident, be it students that want to try but they struggle to get it out. So in today's session, we're going to do something special. Whiskas, that's what I'm going to say. Hi guys. Tell me where you're from, who you teach. If you've got any questions, I will give it a couple of minutes before we start the live stream. I'm so happy to see all of you here today. Like I said before, there was an issue with the stream, but very happy to be here. So, how are you guys doing this Sunday? I'm doing very well. Actually, on a personal note, it was my wife's birthday. So we did something special. We went for a painting, not a class, but we went painting at a painting cafe. And actually, I should have had the paintings here to show you. They're in the other room. Maybe I'll show you later. But my wife's a great artist, and I am not that. So what I did was I just went in there and tried to have fun and drew something. I would stand up, but yeah, maybe I'll show it to you later. But it's really good. I think it's important for us to be able to talk, and I think helping students to talk is very important. So I'll give it another 4 minutes, for people to join the live stream, because I said it would start at 1 p.m. GMT, and right now it's a couple of minutes before that. But yeah, excited to see all of you here to talk about helping students speak English. Now, a little bit about myself. So my name is Eric, and I've been teaching for 20 years now. I've been teaching English, all different levels. Currently I'm teaching speaking to university students in South Korea. And it's a big problem. I think one of my strengths that I'm proud of is helping my students communicate more in class. Because, one of the things in Korea is that they really teach to the test. What they do is the teachers only teach grammar, and they help students perform well on the tests. But then their speaking and their communication ability isn't very good. And that's been going on for many years. So what the government did was they introduced foreign teachers to help with the speaking. And I came to Korea almost 15 years ago, and I started teaching. And so I feel like it's very important to help students be more confident and practice their English, because in most cases, a lot of students know more than they let on. Or, maybe they don't have the confidence, but they do know something. So it's up to me to get them to actually talk and engage with one another and with other foreigners. And then, Whiskers, I'm from Iraq in the English department. I watch all your videos. Please keep going. Thank you so much. All things biblical. Hi, everyone. Greetings from South Africa. Thank you so much. Yeah, guys. So I'm excited to talk about this. And what's even more special is that I'm going to use something really cool. Let me see if I can share it now with you. So I'm going to host this presentation with Slidea. Slidea is how you can make a PowerPoint. Let's go to present. It's where you can make a PowerPoint and people can, so I'm going to share the Slidea, which is like a presentation, like a PowerPoint, but you as the audience can join in, and there will be quizzes, there will be polls, and you can you can work with me in this presentation. It's very interactive, and I'm excited to have all of you here. Artist Fjord, hello, I'm an art teacher watching from Myanmar. Hi, thank you for your videos about teaching. Artist Pure, thank you so much. So guys, this is Slidea. It's a wonderful website. It's an amazing tool. So if you do a presentation, you can share it with your audience. You can scan this QR code, or you can go to joinslidea.com and then input that number, and it will put you right in the presentation there with me. So it's really useful. It's fantastic. What's even better is, you know, as teachers, we don't have a lot of time to spend creating and spending time on creating PowerPoints. Or if you're like me, you know, you're not very creative, so it's difficult to put your ideas into presentation format. So with Slidea, they've got an amazing AI tool that you input the commands, and then it basically creates a presentation for you. It adds texts, it adds quizzes. It's so useful. And that's why I'm going to use it today. So if you're able to, just scan the QR code and say join Slidea, and I will start with the presentation shortly. Yeah, so I'm curious, you know, when you're teaching, what do you think are some of the problems that you have in your classroom? Because like I said, I have to teach a lot of beginner students speaking. I have to help them communicate in the classroom. And one of the biggest issues I have is helping a lot of lower level students actually build up the confidence to speak and to put sentences together and do more than just give you one word answers. And so today I want to share some ideas of what I would do, some tips on how to help students to speak English in the classroom. Okay, is everyone good? Is everyone happy? Because we're going to start this soon. Let's see how many people have joined in so far. Give me a second. Let's see. We've got already 5 people in. Let's try and get some more in here. I'm very excited to get this started. If you're new here, tell me where you're from. Put it in the comments down below, and let's start this presentation. I hope everyone is ready. I'm very excited to get started. Okay, let's get started with how to help students speak English in the classroom. Okay, so here we have Slidea, and we're going to the next slide. Okay, now, what is your biggest speaking problem in class? Now, you know, you're teaching and you're teaching grammar, or you're teaching listening or writing. But when it comes to speaking and getting students to communicate with you or with each other, what is your biggest problem? Is it perhaps that students don't speak, they flat out refuse? Is it that they use too much of their native language? So you could ask them to talk about something with their friends, and then they just use their language. And that happens a lot with Korean, you know, where the students, they feel more comfortable using Korean and getting to know each other. So how do you feel about it? By the way, guys, I'll just show you. I'll put the link on. So if you, I'm going to put it like this. If you want to join, if you come in at any moment and you feel like you want to join the live stream, the presentation on Slidea, use that. So, and then the other one is low confidence. You know, it could be students that are shy. A lot of students don't want to stand out in the class. They don't want to be embarrassed. I see someone change to low confidence. Yes, I think that's so difficult. Many of us, especially if you're, a teenager, you don't want to stand out. You don't want to make a fool out of yourself in front of your peers. That's when you're changing, and a lot of students struggle with confidence, and so maybe that's a big issue. And then another problem could be that you don't know many speaking activities. You tell the students, oh, have a conversation, and maybe they try, but it just doesn't work. You feel like you need a bit more creative ideas to reach your students. So think about it like that. Yeah, here we have Farid saying, yeah, mostly they say, miss, I can't, and I keep saying, please try. Yeah, it becomes almost like a begging game where you're like, please just try. It's not that difficult. Just say something. That definitely happens. And so for us as teachers, we have to go into this understanding, first of all, how can we get our students to be more confident? So working on their mindset, and then also, scaffolding it for them to give them the tools that they're able to do something. For me, it's frustrating. So if you're learning a second or third language, it's so frustrating where you understand what you want to say, but you don't know how to say it. And then people get upset with you, but you're like, I don't know the words. I don't know the phrases. I don't know how to exactly say it myself. And then the other one is not having fun activities for the students to actually enjoy and benefit from the language. Okay, so let's continue to the next one. And the next one is another question. Which mistake do you think you make the most? Now, you know what? First off, I want to say thank you to everyone who's come to this live stream, because it's difficult to admit that you've got a problem. Many of us, you're told you're the teacher, you're supposed to be born with all the answers, but not everyone would give up some of their own personal time to come and watch a presentation about how to help your students speak more English. So first of all, I want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I think your students will also appreciate it. And you too. You're going to be more confident and maybe use some of these ideas in your class. So some of the answers we have here is, which speaking mistakes do you think you make the most? I talk too much. Okay, now I've seen this a lot. Actually, it's difficult not to judge some teachers for speaking too much, because I've walked past classrooms and then it's supposed to be a communication class, and the teacher is just standing in front of the class talking nonstop. Now, you don't want to judge the teacher, because oftentimes teachers think that they've got to be in front of the class. They're supposed to put on a show. The students are there listening to them, and maybe they don't know the activities. They don't know how to get their students to talk more. And that is a big issue. It comes from, I was talking to a teacher a week or two ago where they said, Eric, I don't know what to do. So I just keep on talking, and imagine, I can see kids in that classroom just sitting there, and after 5 minutes, they just don't care anymore. They just zone out. So as teachers, we should try to reduce our our teacher talking time. We have to reduce that and get the students to speak more. We can do it with some pair activities, group activities, fun games. But I think most important is to have the mindset of, the more I get my students to engage with the language by speaking with each other, by answering questions, the more successful my lesson will be. Not in all cases, but in most cases. So we've got to take that on by ourselves. So a lot of people say I talk too much, just like me right now. I correct too much. A student makes a mistake and we spend a couple of minutes correcting them. Not only does it harm their confidence, but also it takes up too much time. My tasks aren't clear. A lot of students, you tell them what to do. You ask, does everybody understand? Yeah. And then you turn your back and then they just don't do anything. 10 minutes later, you walk past, you're like, are you guys done? They're like, teacher, we don't know what to do. And that's a big thing that happens. I don't give enough speaking time. I'm going to address this. We talk about students not being confident, but I think there's a big lack of confidence with teachers. We are deathly afraid of silence in the classroom. We feel like if you're not talking, the kids are going to talk, and not activities that they have to do, but we fear silence, and we shouldn't. We should give our students enough time to speak. If you ask a student a question, if they have to reply, at least give 10 seconds, slow seconds. One Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And, if they don't answer, what do? What I like to do is I like to continue and tell them, I'm going to come back to you. So you've got some time to figure out an answer, and then you continue with some of the other students. Okay, is everybody with us? Is everybody having fun? So Gal, to conduct English lessons in English only, this is a problem for me. Well, yeah, I think you're going to want to use English. But what's more important is if you can guide your students to practice whatever English you want to teach them, whatever your goals are for that lesson. So if you want to teach them to talk about can or can't, you can explain some things in your native language, but then the expressions, the things they actually have to practice, make sure they do that in English. And that's very important. Okay. Yes, mostly they say, I speak too much. Yeah, me too. First and second. My TTT is too high. Hey, Joe the trainer. Very cool. I teach online 1-to-1. Very cool. Polish, the asylum phone. They want their wall padding back. Yeah, well, this is for the sound, for an echo. Actually, I should get a carpet in here. But yeah, it also protects me from myself. Gabriella, good afternoon. Greetings from Italy. Buongiorno. I don't know, but I think Italy is high on the countries I want to visit. Okay, everyone, let's continue. There's a lot I want to talk about. I hope you are enjoying. Okay, now let's talk about the speaking framework, the 4 keys. Now, when you teach your students, you have to understand that there are 4 things that can really help you. It's a clear task. So students understand exactly what is expected of them. So clarity, a useful language. If it is something students can use immediately, they're more likely to practice it. If you're teaching them something that is unclear, that they don't really care about, that's not very useful, they might not practice it. You give enough thinking time, and you also structure it for them where you give them the tools to actually do it. So you give them phrases, you give them vocabulary, you give them examples, and then a safe environment. A lot of us, we don't want our students to feel uncomfortable. So, we don't push them too hard. And you don't want to do that, but you also want to give them confidence. Now, what I tell my students when they come into my class is that one of the rules I have is that no one is allowed to be shy. Everybody has to speak. Because if they come in there and they think, oh, they can just sit in the back of class and not say anything, they are wasting their own time and they're wasting your time. I also tell them that if they don't speak, I can't help them and they won't improve. So the more they speak, the more I can help them and the more they can improve. So yeah, give them a safe environment. And the students, whenever they answer, you give them enough time, you give them enough praise when they answer. It's like, oh, that's a good answer. But you also give them like slight corrections where you're like, oh, this is good, but maybe you can add onto this by, adding an adjective, or, you give them some examples. And then, so Eric Senior says, true, not pushing hard enough, but you don't want to push too much. Okay, now the examples of the 4 keys. A clear task, ask 3 questions and report back. So they know, okay, these are 3 questions and I'm going to ask them to report back. Useful language, you give them some expressions. I think, in my opinion, you give them an example of how to use it. What is also important is before you start the activity, before you do the activity, practice it with some students so that the other students see what is expected of them. If you say, okay, guys, this is what I want you to do, go, and it's unclear and they're a bit nervous, before you do that, start it with them. So, okay, let's do the first one. Let's do the second one. Okay, now, guys, I want you to do it like this. It's the same with any activity. If you can start, if you give homework to students, they're not very like there's a low chance of them doing it. But if you start the homework with them and then send them home, you've started it. It's much better that way. Good rule, nobody may be shy in class. Okay, how to organize speaking activities for lower levels. Very good question, Gal. We'll definitely get to that soon. I'm going to share some speaking activities and how to structure it. Then we have some thinking time, safe environment, no interruption during fluency. We have Joe here saying, I agree with you that what you said. I read about identity restoration theory. Most students will participate if examples are relevant to them. Very true. You know, make it fun, make it relevant, and give examples that the students feel, you know, might even be for them. Now, before speaking, it's important to prepare the students, to set it all up. So you model the task, you give example answers, you pre-teach key phrases, you give them enough thinking time. So I tell the students, guys, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and if the activity is on, I give them 2 minutes so they know where they stand. Okay, better than talk about your weekend. If it's too broad, instead of saying, well, talk about your weekend, you say, think for 30 seconds. Use I went, I ate, I felt. This clear frame plus thinking time makes the speaking easier so they know what's expected of them. Van City, how you doing? These are for higher grade students. How about first graders, 1, 2, and 3? Well, with the younger students, yeah, you can have lots of fun activities where perhaps, you know, you've got a board game on the board. You know, let's say you put a snake on the board, 1 to 10, the first team to make it wins. And then, you know, you've got some phrases on the board, or you've got some flashcards where the students compete to make it through the board game. It's really useful for the young students, for them, you know, to play together. So you can give them a chance to practice it with a partner, and then you put them into teams, and the teams compete where they get points, perhaps. You know, you can have a die. Let's say you've got 6 sentences you want them to practice. I like this. I don't like that. I have a. And then each number is something, and you've got a big die, and then you throw it to the students, raise their hands, and they answer. A really good site for this, you know, for these bomb games that you can use. If you have a bomb game, it depends what you're trying to teach the students. But it's important to have enough time for them to practice it with a partner. And whenever I teach something, depending on the class size, I like to go through, and each student gets a chance to answer something. Even if it's something like we're practicing the past tense, I would have a verb list where it's like a girl playing piano, and I say, so I give examples of he ate a cheeseburger. They listened to music, and then I go through the students, and everybody has to answer. And once they've got that down and it's too easy, you can say, okay, well, let's try the negative for the past tense, or make a question. So after all the students have had an example of that, you can give them a chance to do an activity with a partner, where they practice with a partner, and then you're going to ask for feedback for this. You know what I love to do is, if you ask, let's say you've got six groups, 6 pairs or 10 pairs. Instead of asking every pair to answer, make it a fun game. Say, okay, these 5 pairs, I want you to play rock, paper, scissors. I need one losing pair. They will do this dialogue using the language. And that gives the students a chance to play for that feedback. And if they lose, they're like, oh, but we lost the game, so we have to do it. That's another way to motivate your students, is by, if you set up these fun mini games to choose who has to give feedback, it also motivates them to do it. And then the next round, the students who lost don't have to participate, and you take the students who are left. That way, everybody gets a chance, but they feel like it's a fun game, and they are more able to give feedback. Sorry, guys. Farad, will this live be uploaded onto the channel? Yes, it will. Okay. What are we saying? Monitor without interrupting. Sorry, guys. I'm talking non-stop. I hope my water lasts, but I don't think I've got a lot left. Monitor without interrupting. So I like to, once you've you've prepared the students, you've set them up, they're doing the practicing the speaking, you want to walk around the class and just monitor them. You can see what mistakes they're making, maybe in pronunciation, maybe, some common grammar mistakes. So you're making notes here and there. You can just help a student out, and maybe students who aren't participating well enough, you can ask them to, you can sit down with them and help them a little bit. And then but you're monitoring and just checking where the students are. And it's a great place for you to see where you can improve. Thank you. With Pietri, Korean drama. Valentine, thank you so much. Yeah. Focus on fluency, not perfection. Right. So you're not gonna scold the students for making mistakes. In some cases where they make common mistakes that are relevant to the lesson, you're going to not say, oh, they're wrong. You're just going to rephrase the sentence correctly. So whenever the student says something perfectly, I'm like, great, perfect. And if a student, says something and it's good, but it's not exactly what you want, you just say the sentence again. That way you're not telling the student they're wrong, but that way they can hear, oh, I made this mistake. This is what it sounds like. And that way the other students also learn from that. But you want to build the students in fluency, not just perfection. Okay, is everybody doing well? Hi, Eric, great session. Keep going. The app you're using for is great. I've been using Slidea quite a while. It's doing wonders in my session. Great, Karthik. Yeah, this is so cool. Very easy to use. Maybe after the stream, I'll show you guys how to use it a little bit, but this is a lifesaver. Okay, now, what do you usually do while students are speaking? Now, this is a good question. You can walk around and monitor, like I said before, correct immediately. You can sit and observe, or you can join the conversation, like sit down and interact with them. What do you usually do? For me, it depends. It depends on the level of the students, but usually I like to walk around and monitor. Like I said, you're taking advice. Sit and observe. Now, this is very difficult for me. When I was a young teacher, I was told you never sit down. But that's difficult, especially if you have like 8 classes and I'm constantly walking around. So I might sit on like a desk or something, but yeah, sit down in my chair, in between classes or during breaks, I would sit down and just finally sitting down. But I usually stand and walk around a lot. And we see to sit and observe. Somebody's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Join the conversation, not too many. Sometimes, if I have a weaker student with a stronger student, and I can see it's a bit, the chemistry isn't there, I like to sit down and just, how both of them communicate, sit down and do that. Um, Farid, how can we guide them and give them feedback without interruption, correcting them in a way that hurts their confidence? Van City, thanks, Eric. It was helpful. In fact, I used some games with them and it was great. Excellent. Chance favors prepared minds. Wow, very nice. Yeah, so the question uh, t- 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 how to give feedback without interrupting them? Well, what I often do is if I hear a bad mistake and I hear someone saying it, I would just correct them out loud. I would say it out loud. I'm speaking if they're in pair groups, while they're in groups, or if they're in pairs, and I walk around and I hear a mistake out loud. That's like they're making a mistake and they can feel it. So I would say it out loud, not just at them, but out loud in general. And they usually pick it up, which is quite amazing. And it depends on what you're teaching. If it's something that you want to, if it's a big mistake they're making and it's relevant to the lesson, instead of singling them out, after they do the activity with a partner or in a group, then or if they make a mistake, I will show the mistakes. I won't say who made the mistake, but I would say, okay, a lot of students, sometimes students would make this mistake, and I would fix it. You can also put a positive spin on it. For example, one of the biggest mistakes Korean students make is that they add s, or they don't add s when they use a present singular. So they would say, my friend eat a banana. And so knowing that this is a big mistake, or knowing that a lot of students make this mistake, I would reframe it positively. I would say, guys, I know some students, Korean American students, guys that have lived in America, that still make this mistake. If you want to be one of the 1% of Korean English speakers, if you fix this one small thing, you will sound better than 99% of Koreans out there. And they're like, what? If I fix this, I'll actually be really good. And then they know. And I tell my students, I'm not going to always correct you. I'm going to correct you when I think it's important, or afterwards. I'll share ways to do it, and they appreciate it, because it comes from a place of wanting them to be better, instead of a place of, oh, you made this mistake, you're trash. Trash, made this mistake. No. So very important. Okay, let's continue. Is everybody having fun? So upgrade any speaking activity. So you can have like a normal speaking activity. They're doing something in class or in pairs or in groups. By the way, mingles are amazing, especially for students. If they're in a class and they don't know their classmates very well, they hunger for social interaction. And yeah, they might be a little shy at the start. A lot of people say, oh no, my kids are too shy. They don't want to talk. Give them time and put them in those situations where they have to speak with a partner. Afterwards, they're so happy. Anything is difficult, or anything might feel awkward the very first time you do it. But if you can get your students, if you say, okay, guys, I want you to write down 6 questions. I want you to interview 6 different partners. Ask them their name, ask them their question, ask a follow-up question, write it down. Write down the answer and ask a follow-up question. At first, they're like, okay, what should I do? I'm like, okay, everyone, it's okay. You can stand up. And I would look away and I will check, oh, is everybody busy? Eventually, one by one, they get up, or you can instruct them. And they appreciate that. Once they get into it, they're finally chatting to each other. And they're using the English, and they just really enjoy that. So we as teachers have to give them that. Speaking is social, and if we try and teach without having them communicating with each other, it's never going to work. So yeah. Upgrade any speaking activity. Add time pressure. Guys, you've got 5 minutes. Add a clear goal. Okay, find 2 differences. I want you to practice with these many people. Add reporting to a partner or class. Tasks need purpose, not just talking. Yeah. Afterwards, I tell them, listen, I'm going to ask two random students to do this conversation in front of class, or we're going to do. You know what I like to do too is, let's say you want to practice something. I tell the whole class to stand up, and then I will ask a question. Okay, somebody tell me what they're doing. What will they eat tonight? And then only when a student answers can they sit down. So all the students are standing up, and then I would usually have like a board, and I will say, okay, give me this sentence, and the students are like, oh, they answer, and then they can sit down. It adds some fun pressure instead of, oh, you can't leave before you answer this. You make it fun. So tasks need purpose. Live micro teaching moment. Prompt students talk about your weekend using the past tense. Let them respond while you praise efforts, correct lightly, and highlight good language to model supportive. Very important. Sometimes you have students that are a little bit higher level. Now, I'm talking about higher level students, and I know a lot of you are thinking, well, I teach kindergartners, or I teach elementary school students, primary school students. This is the same for them too. You're going to have some students that are stronger than others. And when they do something well, whether they're bad students or good students, praise them, use them as models. If possible, try and find the positives, especially for students that are weaker. I have a student that in many of my classes, I've had students where the other teachers tell me that they're horrible students, that they're really bad. But then in my class, I just find something to praise about them, an answer they give, something real that they did that I say, wow, that's actually really good. Thank you so much. Or you don't even, you've got to be sly about it. They will know if you're too upfront. So let's say they did a pair, that they answered something, and you heard their answer was something unique. Then to the group, you can say, well, I heard this one answer that it was really cool. They said blah, 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 blah. You don't mention it's that student, but they're like, oh, I said that. The teacher was listening to me. So you want to not manipulate, but you want to encourage your students in different ways too. So the students that are good, you're like, wow, thanks. That's a really good answer. And I love those moments where, a student knows they did well, and you highlight it. They really do. They appreciate it. Okay, now some common speaking problems. You have a question, nobody answers. Like I said, you've got to expect your students to answer. And I like to do that from the very start. When you start your lesson, you don't spend 15 minutes introducing the topic and teaching, and now suddenly 20 minutes into the lesson, now I want you to speak. No, it should be always expected that they're going to talk throughout the lesson. So I start the class, they come inside, I start conversation with the kids. Oh, how was it? Did you have lunch? What did you eat for lunch? What did you watch last night? Hey, tell me, who's your favorite artist at the moment? And then they know Eric's going to talk to me, and I've got to say something back. And even when I do roll call, I've got a sample question that I ask them. It could be related to the lesson. It could just be a fun question that everybody has to answer. And then during the lesson, when you're teaching the grammar or you're teaching the speaking, whatever you're teaching, go through and ask the students to answer. That way, they know it's expected of them. They know they need to prepare, but you still have students that are quiet. So give them enough time to reply. If they don't, say, listen, I'm going to come back to you. You continue, you go back to that student, and 10 times out of 10, they answer once you give them enough time to prepare. My ideas about speaking is grading each student one by one as traditional way. Is it better to do it in pairs or groups or individually? I think you want to grade them in all those ways. If you can get a chance for them to do it and in an individual interview with you, or when they do a presentation of their own, You're going to grade them on that. You're going to grade them on a pair conversation or that they have with another student, on a role play that they have in a group. So you want to do that in all those ways. If it's not possible, then the best way is individually. But you're going to want to try and do that with all ways. And there are different types of individual speaking too. So presentations are different from, having a conversation or dialogue, or doing a speech. All these, or all these are very different. So you want to give them a chance to do it in different ways. Only 2 students speak. Yeah, so you want to give all the students a chance and make sure the students know that they're going to speak at some point. Students only use L1. Provide needed phrases. Oof. Sorry, guys. Speaking. I need more water. There's a lot of speaking from me. Okay. Only use L1. Those students that only use L1, make sure they get to know the equivalent in their language, that they get to know the vocabulary. And it depends where you are. Most schools have a 0 L1 policy. Mine is a little different. I let the students use their language except when they speak to me or when they're practicing it with a partner. But when they communicate with each other, that's fine. But other people, most schools are stricter with this rule. But you want to get the students to use that. And so you've got to tell them, listen, you using your language is not helping you. It's not helping me. So we're going to give you the equivalent. We're going to build up your vocabulary. We're going to practice the phrases. And I want the more you use the English, the better you will become. So they've got to understand that. Students say very little, require longer answers. Yeah, push them. You can. There's a really fun role play called "and" or "but," where students have to continue. You put students in a circle, and they have to go around saying something, "and" or "but." Wait, what is it again? Somebody has to. Somebody starts by saying a sentence. Like, oh, I just won the lottery. And then the next student should say, but you have to give 99% of it to charity. And then the next students have to say, but that charity is in your mom's name, so she will give you more of it. And then someone says, but, it's money is worth nothing, or and I bought a new car. So you can play these games to get the students to increase their answers. And you should, if that's the problem, you should say, guys, I don't accept one sentence answers. I want you to at least answer in 2 sentences. I want you to explain yourself in the answer. I don't just want yes or no, because students will climb as high as how high you allow them to climb. If you say, okay, this is the minimum I want from you, guess what? Those students, 99% of them are only giving you that minimum. So you have to say, listen, I expect this. Your expectations should be higher of your students. I expect this and this. This isn't really good enough. This is the minimum, but I expect this. So I want you to do. And how do you do that? It's you give me a longer answer. You make it 2 sentences. You give an explanation. You add some adjectives. You make longer sentences. And other ways you can do it is by letting students answer, and you say, okay, well, your answer should be first when you practice with a partner, it should be 20 seconds conversation. And then the next round is going to be 40 seconds. And then the next round it's 1 minute. That way they have to practice speaking longer and longer. That's also another activity. Okay, guys, are you having fun? Am I speaking too much? Build student speaking confidence. Don't interrupt fluency. Praise effort, not accuracy. Normalize mistakes. Give achievable tasks. Confidence comes from successful speaking experiences. Very true. Yeah, guys, let me know if you've got any questions. We've got Joe says here, with my Spanish students, when welcoming them, saying how you are this morning leads to a fine. Culturally, that's correct in Spanish as opposed to English. How do you welcome your students? Yeah. I write a sentence on the board, a question on the board, and then I also give an example answer, and the students have to answer. So last week I did give me a recommendation for a movie or TV show I should watch, and then I write down I recommend you watch because momomo, or it's about momomo. Sorry, the momomo in Korean it means and so on, etc. So momomo is like yeah, it's like what is it? Not a replacement. It's a displacement. It's a displacement. Anyway, it's just something you. It's a holder or holder expression for something. Having fun. I'm having fun. Thanks. Great, guys. Sorry, I should have taken more water here. It's getting hot. It's getting hot in here. Less fear, but less focus. Learn through fun and movement. Shorter. Okay, teaching young learners to speak. Short attention spans. So you want to go through the activities. You don't want to do activities for too long. So the activities you can do is okay. You give them a paper and they have to find certain words on it. Okay, so first they learn some of the vocabulary. Then you check it with the students, and then you might do an example of repeating the words, and then you can play a game of like I said, the bomb games where the kids you give team A, team B, and it shows one and one student can answer, and then their team gets a point. And you can also make it that each student only get 2 answers, so that not the same student gives all the answers. So you can do fun games like that. Then you move on to putting it into sentences and then practicing it with a partner. And then, you can give them a sample of how to use it, in a dialogue, things like that. So instead of just having very long activities, break it up quickly. You also want to have activities where they might stand up or they might do something. In between your activities, you can use Simon Says and then use some of the vocabulary. So if your vocabulary is like animals, or let's say your vocabulary is colors, you say Simon Says touch the color white, and they're like, oh, touch the color white. Simon Says clap your hands, or if it's a bark like a dog. So use fun activities where they can stand up and move around too. Very useful. And then with TPR, you all know what TPR is. What's TPR again? Total physical response. So with TPR, you can also practice vocabulary expressions and add them to movement. And I made some videos on TPR activities and movement, but it's basically the students practice and they do it. Vary the tempo. More. Hello from Ecuador. Great ideas. Thanks for helping me increase. Oh, my pleasure. Joe the trainer, my friend in Ecuador. I'm Colombian. Very cool. Okay. Less fear, but less focus. Need both structure and energy. Very nice. Guys, one of the biggest things when it comes to teaching younger learners is that you want to control the energy in the classroom. You want your ups and your downs. So you want to have some activities where they can express themselves and have fun, call out answers. And then you also want the slower ones where they have to find vocabulary, or they have to explain with a partner. So you can have lots of fun things like that. Also with younger ones, you can have different sets. So this is where you have to do this, different, what is it called? Yeah, different places to do. What is it called? Something. Anyway, young learners speak because the activity makes them. Yes, make it fun, make it interesting. And you want to use toys and some objects for them to get excited about. Use colors, all these things. Use simple speaking games and board games, very important. Bomb games. I love using so a dice. I've made plenty of fun games, just if you have a soft, spongy dice and they have to throw it at things. So if they answer correctly for their team, they can throw it. Or, snakes and ladders where they get points and they can attack another team, or they can steal points or they can do things, be creative with the games, especially board games that you make. I would just have a whiteboard and I would draw circles on it and I would give each circle a point. And, if the students answer correctly, they can throw it and then team 1 gets points, team 2 gets points. The kids just want to practice, but they want to learn through games. I haven't done much of that with my university students, but yeah, you want to have fun games for them and you want to control that energy. Add ask and answer challenges, use chants, songs, repeated question patterns, keep instructions very simple, show, don't explain, combine speaking with movement and actions, TPR that we were talking about before. Okay, give sentence frames, not just topics. Instead of talk about your day, you're going to write, I went to, I played, I liked. It makes it easier and safer for the students to understand. You can also encourage the more advanced students by, adding another sentence and explaining themselves or sharing something personal. So the weaker students have a sentence frame, and the more advanced students can add on to it. Yeah, I like to and make it relevant for your students. So I would write there, I met my friends, I hung out with my friends, I drank beer with my friends, whatever it might be that they might actually do. Okay, so some key takeaways. Speaking improves through practice. Students need structure, not just topics. Teachers must step back and listen more. If students aren't speaking, change the task, not the students. Yeah, mix it up. Have fun activities. If something isn't working, don't bash your head against the wall hoping the students will eventually get it. It means that you're doing something wrong and you've got to mix it up. Simplify, make it interesting, and then also have backup things to happen, backup activities. Sometimes we plan something. We say, okay, well, we've got this structure that I use in my class, but the students finish with something and they look bored, immediately transition to the next activity or have a different way of doing it. Sometimes I sit with the students and I think, oh, this activity is going to go great. And then it doesn't work well. And I'm sitting there. No, then pivot. Like that Friends episode where Ross goes, pivot. So then you pivot, you try something different. You say, guys, this isn't working. Let's do something else. Let's do it this way. Let's make it fun. So just change the task, not the students. Gal says also spin the wheel is great. Anything that has to do with luck or movement or, something with games where they feel they've got a win and a lose, with the younger kids, I used to teach at language academies, English academies. Even if you have some small sweets, just some small candies, and at the end of the class, we do many activities throughout. At the end of the class, there's usually some big a team game where you have 3 teams and they participate together. They've got to put sentences together or vocabulary or, explain things. And then the winning team, they get like a couple of sweets. And, those sweets for your sanity and the motivation it provides these young kids, it's everything. You don't want to go around being Mr. Santa Claus candy, giving it to everyone and they're like, candy, candy. No, they've got to work for that. You know what I'm saying? And so, spin the wheel is very nice. Is it good to merge the listening and speaking lesson together with the same token? Absolutely. The more connections you make between it, the better for the students. And, for speaking, if they're listening to a dialogue example, and then you're going to ask them use that. I would never just focus on one skill. I try to mix it all together. So they're going to do some writing, some listening, but you want to always use it in combination with their speaking so that their speaking improves, so very nice to do that. Okay, let's continue. Okay, here's a question to everyone. What is one concrete change you could make to a speaking activity this week to get more students talking? So think about how you structure your lessons. If it's with the younger students, if it's older students, how you normally run your classes. And think, what change could you make to get that class to be better? Could it be by challenging the students more? Could it be by getting the students, giving them more independence in the activity? Could it be by making it more fun? Could it be by pushing the students to do more in groups? Asking them to do more role plays. Instead of just short role plays. The other thing is you've got to remember how you progress the speaking. You start by teaching them some vocabulary or the grammar or that. Then they practice it with you, where you go through the class and you ask them to answer, and then they practice it quickly with a partner, a dialogue or something, and then you get them to choose them. You pick some students to do it in front of class, and then and you check for understanding, and then you could say, okay, now I want you to find a new partner, and I want you to do it again, but I want you to make your own scenario. And that's kind of fun. And then you're going to do a team game where they practice it together and you check who's the best. Or then you're going to do some writing. So whatever you can do to do it better. And we've got some answers here. A role play activity, engaging way of teaching, daily speaking, use visuals. Sorry, I didn't even mention that. Yeah, visuals are so important. Like I said before, I love using, even if it's just a sheet with action verbs, and the students can see it being done. It's so important. You can also, give students like examples with a photo of something that happens, and they've got to build a role play from that photo. So challenge your students by using visuals and role plays. Very good answers. Thank you, everyone. And we've got speaking carousels. Very cool idea, where they have to work with different partners. I love that idea. Okay, now quiz time. Is everybody ready? Now we're getting to the time of the class where we're going to check what you've learned. Now, if you're there, join the game. We're going to see who's the best. We've got 6 players already. We've got 8 players joined. We're going to do a quiz, and at the end, we're going to see who won this quiz. I can play. I would have won, but I'll just oversee. We've got 9 players. Are we going to get a number 10? Is everybody ready? We've got Ray, Vaishali, Epsi, Apple, Hatching, Chick, Rose, Eggplant, Gift, and Jashaya. Okay, my money is on just Jalsea. The unicorn shall win. Okay, is everybody ready? So this is really fun. I love this from Slidea. Let's start. Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, and let's start. And give me a second. Okay, is everyone ready? I'm supposed to press let's start. Let's try it. Okay, start. Okay, we've got 17 people joining. This is great. Okay, let's see if moving forward helps. Okay, answer fast to get more points. Okay, what is the best way to improve English? Okay. Okay, five people have answered. 6. Trying H now. Show responses H. 6, 7. We've got 18 seconds. Best way to improve your English is to watch my YouTube channel. It's number one. I hope that's one. Practice daily, only study grammar, watch once and stop, avoid speaking. Avoiding speaking looks good. Shadowing while listening is also a good one. Loading results, let's see. 6 and 1, avoid speaking. That better not be our unicorn. Let's continue. Next one. Ooh, we've got the points. We've got Apple, congratulations. Oh, my unicorn didn't failed it. We've got Apple, congratulations, and Alex, good job, guys. You answered the quickest. Okay, next one. Question 2. Are you guys ready? Let's start. Everyone's in? 9 people? Let's do it. Answer fast to get more points. Is everyone ready? Put the 4 keys to effective speaking tasks in order presented in the session. So what did I say? What is the most important? So we've got clear task, thinking time, useful language, safe environment. What did I say? Do you guys still remember? It's very fun. We've got 4 people finished. 40 seconds. Just guess, guys. Put it in there. So imagine teaching and you've got this amazing tool from Slidea. Really fun. Let's see. I want to see some winners. We've got 2 left. 7 people have answered. Clear task, thinking time, useful. But I have gotten this right. 16 seconds. Chick ad says here, safe environment, clear task, thinking time, useful language. Maybe. Let's find out in 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Clear task, useful language. It was all in the same one. Nobody got it right. I thought I made it easy. I think I'll take those points. Thank you. Last question. Okay, we've got 10 players in. Are you guys ready? Let's go. Answer fast to get those points, guys. What should you do when you make a mistake? Stop speaking, feel embarrassed, continue, learn and continue, avoid English. I'm going to go with feel embarrassed. That's a natural response for most of the things I do. Let's see. Chick add a bird song. Chick ADDD, a bird song. That's cool. Laugh, take a moment, self-correct. We are all human. What a nice answer. Alexander, Alex, and Remoy say, I think I missed this one. I didn't know how to put it in order. No problem. Yeah, we're just learning. It's just for fun. Okay, loading results. Learn and continue. Everyone who said it the fastest, by Shali. Guess the winner. Are you guys ready? Reveal the winner. Everybody's commenting who won. Let's see. Wait. Go back. It was Vaishali. Oh, that's that one. Reveal. Let's see. We got some answers here. I think it has to be. It doesn't. My pointer doesn't work, but I think we'll see. Okay. Ask your biggest teaching questions about getting ESL students to upvote others' questions. Now, everyone, if you're on here, I want you to go and ask a question. You can upvote a good question that you've seen. I'll answer anything. Yeah, I think, as with anything in life, it's not just, it's the way that we do it that's the most important. Your mindset. If you go into teaching something and you are not confident and you're afraid to try activities, you're afraid, you're not sure if something's going to work, and you're unable to change your ways, you're unable to try something new, then you might fail because your mindset is incorrect. We should learn fun activities. We should plan appropriately. We should understand where our students come from. Most of us, maybe we fear certain classes, or we are afraid of teaching something a certain way because, nothing has worked very well. But if you prepare well and you go in with the mindset of you want to help these kids speak better in as soon as possible, with things that are relevant to them in a fun, engaging manner, then you'll be successful. And if that's for the young learners, if it's for all the students, that's all you have to do. Now, let's see. We've got some amazing questions here. Thanks for your session, getting them to think in L2, how to get this tool, how to get Slidea, textbooks for creating a frame, lessons to be more structured, how to overcome the embarrassment of speaking English and making mistakes. Okay. Thanks for how to get them to think in L2. Very important. Yeah, that happens to them. Like I said, you've got to try and work in all the skills. Practice all the skills with them: speaking, listening, writing, and encourage them to make it relevant to themselves. That is how you can get them to start thinking in L1. And even when it comes to grammar, you want to teach them the grammar and get them to use that grammar instead of just using their native language. Okay, how to get this tool, how to get Slidea. Yeah, this is amazing, right? Such a good tool from Slidea. I'll show you guys now. What you do is you go to Slidea, www.slidea.com. So it's like idea, Slidea. And you just go and you sign up there. It's an amazing tool for teachers. It's got an AI tool that creates something for you. So I'll go in and try it out now and show you how it's done. Textbooks, yeah, you just got to search for the good textbooks, how to overcome embarrassment of speaking English. Just be okay with it. Know that if you make mistakes, that's how you grow. And the more you grow, the better you get, the cooler you are. But if you don't make mistakes, you can't improve. Balancing fun and discipline. Yeah, so sorry, for my water is done, so now I've got to swallow. Okay, fun and discipline. If you are having fun in the class, you will have less issues with discipline because you can take that fun away, and students don't want that. Discipline, you do want to have boundaries in your class, how students treat you, how they treat the lesson, how they treat each other, and you are the one to correct them. If they know you are someone who enforces their boundaries, but someone who is fun but still enforces their boundaries, they'll have fun with you. My biggest challenge is the time management. Time always flies by. Yeah, so time always flies by. Yeah, I think very important is maybe structure your classes better, have activities that you can cut down, and check yourself how much time is being used. Without having a chance to do the conclusive or exit ticket. Yeah, so time yourself, make it slower, take out activities that are unnecessary, pace yourself. If you want to do exit tickets, include them in some of the activities somehow. You don't always need exit tickets, but yeah, I think time yourself, have activities that you can cut down in certain amounts of time, or cut things that you need to, yeah, and be mindful of it, pace yourself. Okay, let's see. Chick ad says, gotta go, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much. The hour is gone, but I'm quickly going to show you some things in Slidea. So I'm going to quickly go to Slidea and show you how it's done. Let's stop sharing. Hey, this is me. I'm going to go to www.slidea.com. Okay, and now I'm going to share my screen. By the way, thank you everyone for joining. This is really cool. So you just go to slidea.com You sign up. You can check everything out. Then you say, take me to that. This is my full name. You've got some presentations that you can make. They've got some popular templates that you can use for yourself already. Some features of how to use. You've got word clouds, multiple choice scales. You've got rankings. Some steps. You can create your first presentation, how to present it, how to join a presentation, how to use Slidea with other tools. So let's go to something amazing. You can create your own presentation, or if you have presentations, PPTs, you can upload them onto Slidea, and Slidea will create a presentation of it. But what I love, and we're always talking about how technology is changing teaching for the better or for the worse. This is definitely for the better, is Create with AI. So let's say here at Create with AI, you've got, what would you like to turn into slides? Now, everyone give me a topic. Give me a topic I can make a presentation about. It could be a lesson. It could be, as a teacher, I'm presenting something. It can be, something on classroom management or teaching specific grammar. Someone give me, in the comments, give me a topic and I'll try to add it and we'll see how it works. Is there some water left? Senior, thank you. I really learned something good. Has anybody got something for me? What can I add? I'll give you 10 seconds and then I'll try. My needs and desires. Okay. Let's make it. I'm teaching ESL students about speaking about. I said about twice. I'm just, it's like AI. I'm just putting it in there, about needs and desires. Let's say they are high beginner. Give me grammar, activities, role plays, and tools that I can use to teach them well as an assessment at the end. Add polls and quizzes. I can type well, and then we're going to say, so it's got 10 to 12 slides. You can say content and interactive illustrations. You can upload your own resources. You can add your own image style. So look at this. You can choose illustration, line art. You can make it detailed or standard. Let's take detailed. You can choose a theme, and then we're going to say generate. Let's check this out. Okay, what is everyone saying? Ooh, slide generation in progress. Best AI for creating lessons with pictures. Okay, come on, Slidea AI. Let's do it. Very excited. What's great is once it's done, you can even ask it to fix some things. Okay. You can see it being generated right there in front of us. How much was it? 10 seconds? Not even. Eric, what textbooks, publishers would you recommend? Oxford, Cambridge? Yeah, all of them are good, I think I made a video about speaking books, Now look at this. Speaking about needs and desires in English. High beginner ESL lesson on how to say it. Lesson goals. Say what you need. Say what you want. I would like to. Be polite. Ask simple questions. Practice. Okay. So we can focus on this. I want. I need. I would like. I need. And then some model sentences for them to use. Look at the pictures they've always got. Model sentences. I want coffee. I want a new phone. I want a polite request. Can I have? Needs versus wants. You can have some cards that you can use with that. Guided practice, a short dialogue. You can even, let's say you want to change something. Survey, role play. Here's a role play. One is an office student going to a cafe, and another feeling sick. Oh, I feel sick. I need a doctor. I need medicine. So students can pair it up. But let's say, you know what? I want to practice here with let's say, add a slide between 4 and 5. I want a quiz on modeling answers for the students. I want a quiz, or should we make it a poll? Let's make it let's make it a quiz. Let's see what it makes. I just took something random now, putting it in. And now let's see what it does. Ooh, it just put so it's got it here. It's got slide 4. And now it put in which sentence is a correct model. I need water. I want to go home. I would like a sandwich, please. I need to go home. We can ask it. No. Make the wrong. It's answers more wrong. So I don't know, maybe I should have said slide 5, who knows? But this is just how amazing it is. You've got, there we go. I want go home. I need to going home. I would like a sandwich. I need water. So you can go through this and make lessons. You can do presentations in front of people. This is an insanely good tool. So yeah, just go to create presentation. It's going to create the presentation. And there you go. An amazing tool to use for your students or for your teaching when you do presentations. Helps so much when it creates it like this. Yeah, there we go. And then you can even add tables and symbols, and you can drag and drop your own photos if you want to, so you can design the types, the settings. Man, you can import your own slides. There we go. So amazingly good, huh? And it continues where the students can practice some more. Okay, everyone, let's stop the sharing there. Eric's had a busy night. Everyone, thank you for joining this. I hope you got something out of it. I also want to thank Slidea for providing me with this amazing tool. I'll make a video about it in the future to show exactly how to use it. But yeah, everyone, have an amazing day. Thank you for joining this live stream, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.